The Pan-Atlantic University was licensed on 12th of February 2002 to operate as a non-residential private university. It was then known as the Pan-African University, and it operated from a 4-story building at number 2 Ahmed Onibodo Street in Victoria Island, Lagos. The vision of the founders of the Pan-Atlantic University was to establish an institution that will not only be a center of excellence and offer world-class university degrees, but a citadel of learning that will develop competent and socially responsible managers who will lead sustained development in Africa in general and Nigeria in particular. This desire thus resulted in choosing the name Pan-African. However, in 2013, the National Universities Commission granted approval for the university's change of name from Pan-African University to Pan-Atlantic University, following the setting up of a postgraduate university in 5 African countries by the African Union, also named Pan-African University. Pan-Atlantic University management sought to retain the acronym PAU to enable minimal loss of brand equity and other corporate identity features. The seats of the Pan-Atlantic University were sown in 1992 with the establishment of the Lagos Business School, which started offering executive education programs in that year. The LBS then went on to become the first school of the university. Today, the Pan-Atlantic University is made up of the following units and schools: the Lagos Business School, the School of Media and Communication, the School of Management and Social Sciences, the School of Science and Technology, the Institute of Humanities, which serves the schools in providing the students with a strong foundation in the humanities and general education, and the Enterprise Development Center, which is involved in capacity building for small and medium-sized enterprises. The Lekki campus of the Pan-Atlantic University, which is located at kilometer 22 Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, occupies an area of 10 hectares. This campus is the site of the Lagos Business School and the Enterprise Development Center. It has been in existence since 2004. The main campus of the Pan-Atlantic University is located in Ibeju-Lekki. It occupies a 100-hectare land area and houses the offices of the University Administration, the School of Media and Communication, the School of Management and Social Sciences, the Institute of Humanities, the School of Science and Technology, and the Yemisi Shillong Museum of Art. Operations at this campus began in November 2014 with the commencement of the undergraduate programs.
I now admit the person standing as bona fide students of Pan-Atlantic University.
Wow, I'm so happy.
It was a long process for me to get here. I had to write my JAM, do really well in it, write my work, do really well in it.
I feel so excited. I just give God glory.
I am a new Vice Chancellor. You are the very first class I have the privilege of welcoming to Pan-Atlantic University. For this reason, you will always be special to me.
The values that attracted me the most to this school are the Christian values.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
And therefore, we will continue to work with them. We will continue to ensure that the goals for which they have come to this university is achieved.
My name is Paul Ohamen. I'm a software nerd, a software engineer. Been building software solutions for the past 7 years for businesses, banks, and the likes. And I'm currently a student at Pan-Atlantic University, taking the MSc Data Science course. It's been amazing. The environment, the lecturer, the course content, the faculties are very smart, and they like to go like extra mile. The learning here is very, very personalized. Okay, so they don't just talk to you as if they are talking to the class. They drill down to each student. They want to know how you are doing, if you get what is going on. And with my colleagues, I think it's been amazing. A lot of the people here, they are also coming from the industry. They have a lot of experience. They know the value that the school is offering. So yeah, it's been nothing short of amazing. The computers I mean, if you've watched Iron Man, they are just like the one Iron Man is using. Very, very high CPU and GPU, and yeah, it does every single thing. Again, the course content is solid, and yeah, it's just good. We are currently in the age of AI right now. We know what ChatGPT is doing. We know what artificial intelligence is doing to the world right now. So I think data science is one of the next big things for business analysts, for people in the software space. And I mean, just knowing how this stuff really works. I mean, you know, ChatGPT right now is trending, right? So how does this stuff work? This is what this program has helped me to see, right? And trust me, the next set of years is all about data. So it gives you a very, very big edge because you can understand what is going on in the society. You can understand what is going on in your business. You can just get so much insight. So I think the course here basically just sets you to be competitive in the future, which is data driven. Definitely, I would recommend it. I mean, do you know of any data science program in Nigeria? I'm not talking of like boot camps or all this roadside stuff. I mean, an MSc program in data science, like there's none right now. So I would heavily recommend the program. The quality, the content, everything is just so good. And I think for your question, what I would really advise is they should just go for it. Okay, if you are already thinking to become a data scientist, I mean, just go for it. It's the future.
Distinguished guests, good afternoon. Welcome to Pan Atlantic University on the occasion of its 14th inaugural lecture. The academic procession has commenced, and as usual, I will be asking you to please rise, and you remain standing until the national anthem is rendered, followed by the university anthem. Good afternoon and welcome once again. Please rise. The national anthem. The university anthem. Please, you may be seated. The Vice Chancellor, trustees of the Pan-Atlantic University Foundation, members of the Governing Council, principal officers of the university, members of the University Management Council, members of the University Senate, deans of schools, directors of centers and units, faculty members, staff, students, and alumni of Pan Atlantic University, our guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Enase Okonedo, I welcome you to the 14th inaugural lecture of Pan Atlantic University. A 14th inaugural lecture, when considered in the light of the size and age of our institution, is no mean feat. It highlights our commitment to serious research and scholarship, a commitment which our faculty actualize in the academic rigor they bring to their research and their work of teaching and promoting learning. It is traditional for universities to celebrate the ascension of a faculty member to the exalted rank of professor with an inaugural lecture. This lecture provides a platform for the new professor to share their contributions to scholarship, current research, and future research plans with the university community and the general public. And a warning to those who are trying to tease out questions: there will be no room for questions because the lecturer delivers his lecture and leaves the podium. Professor Uchenna Uzo, Professor of Marketing at the Lagos Business School, Pan Atlantic University, will deliver today's inaugural lecture shortly. The lecture is titled Hidden Gem: Success in Africa's Informal Markets. Now, please permit me to introduce the people on the stage. And I will introduce from my extreme right. We have Dr. Darlington Aholo, the Dean of the School of Science and Technology. Dr. Oluwashola Oni, who is Dean, School of Management and Social Sciences. And we have next to her our amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Enase Okonedo. And our inaugural lecturer, Professor Uchenna Uzo. Next to him is Professor Chris Ogbeche, the Dean of the Lagos Business School. My name is Kingsley Okoha, the Registrar, Pan Atlantic University. I now invite the Vice Chancellor, Professor Enase Okonedo, to formally introduce the lecturer. Please welcome Professor Enase Okonedo with a round of applause. Thank you.
Biography of Professor Uchenna Uzo. Professor Uchenna Uzo received his Bachelor of Science and Master of Science in Sociology from the University of Lagos and his Masters of Research in Management, as well as a PhD in Management, both from the IESE Business School, Barcelona. He is a Research Fellow of the Scandinavian Consortium for Organizational Research and the American Marketing Association. He served as a visiting research scholar at Stanford University, USA, and has been a visiting faculty at Strathmore Business School, Kenya since 2021. He joined Lagos Business School in February 2002 as a personal and research assistant and transitioned to Executive MBA Program Manager in 2003. Until he left for his PhD in 2007, he was a research associate at Lagos Business School. After completing his Master of Research in Management in 2009 and PhD in Management, both from the IESE Business School, Barcelona in 2011, he returned to Lagos Business School as faculty, where he rose to become a full-time lecturer in 2012 senior lecturer in 2016, and professor in 2022. He currently serves as the faculty director and academic director of the African Retail Academy at Lagos Business School. He also serves on the management board of Lagos Business School and the Senate of the Pan-Atlantic University. He teaches courses in marketing management, personal selling, sales and channel management. Through his teaching responsibilities, he has participated in building the managerial and leadership competencies of over 1,500 senior managers in Nigeria. He has also taught executives and CEOs at IESE Business School, Barcelona. His research and consulting assignments span several industries, focusing mainly on indigenous sales and marketing strategies, retailing, and consumer behavior trends in Africa. He is a board member of companies in the retail and sports entertainment sectors. His academic articles have been published in journals such as the Strategic Entrepreneurship Journal and the Journal of Personal Selling and Sales Management. He has written teaching cases that won numerous awards, such as the 2013 EFMD Case Writing Competition in the African Business Cases category and the Emerald Arts Case Study Competition in 2017. He has also received the Excellence Award for Entrepreneurial Education in 2016 and the Exemplary Leadership Award in 2017. He has edited many books and contributed numerous chapters. He is the founder of AfriTail, an African-centered blog that exposes retail insights, simple and complex marketing sales strategies, ideas on possible growth, and general consumer behavior. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Professor Uchenna Uzo.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me adjust my hat. Okay, I'm waiting for the slides to come on before I start. Excellent. Thank you. Imagine that you woke up in the morning, you picked up your phone, and then you saw a message. And in the message, what you see is a credit alert saying you've just won $1 million. How would you feel? So let me just tell you that the way you feel or you would feel is how I feel about Africa's informal market. And I hope that I will convince you of that as we go about this lecture. One thing I would like you to take away as we enter into this discussion is actually the fact that the informal markets, trust is what binds them. Trust is the engine of informal markets. And if you want to succeed in informal markets, you need to be ready to be a trust builder. You need to build trust, and you need to be ready to earn the trust of the market. And I've divided this lecture into 4 parts. The first part is to take you through the evolution of informal markets, after which I will explain to you some of the myths that hinder success in this market. After that, we'll look at how buyers behave in this market. And finally, I will show you some success strategies. So I'll just say for now that you should sit back and enjoy, as we say in LBS. So let me start with the story of my journey. As a little boy, If you look at this photograph, and you look at the two individuals in that photograph, can you guess who I am? I'm the older one. And I'm carrying my youngest brother. His name is Chidi. And if you ask Chidi about me, he'll be able to tell you many things about me. But there are two things he may tell you that I'm sure you don't know about me. One of them is that as a child, I loved wrestling. I loved wrestling, and I used to practice. Okay, better now. So I used to practice all of those, and some of my siblings are here. They can confirm that. That's the first thing you don't know about me. The second thing is that at breakfast time, there was this meal I liked so much. That meal is currently LBS's fastest moving item. Can you guess what it is? Akara. Thank you very much. My experience with Akara started way back in 1996. I graduated in 1996 from secondary school, and I started to go to morning mass with my parents. My mom here will probably remember that I would go with them. And there was this lady after mass that had a table where she sold fresh Akara. And my parents and I would stop by, would have a conversation with this lady, we would discuss the market, we would discuss the weather, and so on and so forth. And at some point in the conversation, how much the price will come on. And then we would negotiate. And you know how negotiation goes. The price of today is not the same as the price for tomorrow or yesterday. And after that, if the spirit touched the heart of this lady, she would say, okay, look, take this extra. What we call in local parlance, jara. Some of you will know about that. Let me just pause here to ask you, if you've ever bought in a street market, like the one I'm referring to, please raise your hand. Let me see. Everybody. So everybody can relate. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Informal markets. And actually, I found from these informal markets that negotiation is something that is key. Negotiation is an important aspect of this market. And also the social bonds, the relationship, the trust that exists in this market. That was my first introduction into the world of informal markets. Then I moved to my university days. I studied in the University of Lagos. Some of you know this very well. A fun place. And one thing that I'm sure you don't know is that I participated as a minor actor in a short Nollywood movie. I don't know if the movie was ever released. Because we shot it in one day. No contract was signed. My salary was meat pie and scotch egg. And that was it. But that introduced me to another aspect of informal markets, which is improvisation. Things are done on the go. And also that contracts are not usually signed. It's based on trust. And I think that is something to take away. Trust is something I'm going to repeat often about my experience and about what characterizes this market. Then I moved to Barcelona. Now, let me tell you a little secret about Barcelona. If you want to learn Spanish, please don't learn Spanish in the same classroom as Chinese. because I had that experience. And I can tell you that my Spanish was mixed with a bit of Chinese, to the point that one day, when I thought I knew enough Spanish, I met a man, and you know, in Spanish, a gentleman means caballero. But I mixed it up and I said caballo, which means horse, right? I don't want to tell you what happened after that. But by 2009, something quite interesting happened while I was in my business school. There was this professor called Dwayne Ireland who visited our campus. He came to talk about informal economies and how entrepreneurship works in informal economies. And I went to that session, and I was completely taken aback because he said that informal markets, informal economies, are ones where people practice illegal activity, but legitimate at the same time. And I said, if I think back to 1996, that's quite different from my experience. If I think back to what happened in Nollywood, my short stint with Nollywood, can we say that all those people were practicing illegal activity? I knew that there were people doing fraudulent things in the informal market setting. But could we generalize? So I asked Dwayne Ireland that question, but he couldn't answer me. He couldn't give a compelling answer because he had never visited Africa before. And so I said, this may be a light bulb. So I ran to one professor, Professor Johanna Meyer, who ended up being my thesis supervisor. She's watching us online now, so you won't be able to see her. But then I complained to her about what I had found. And she asked me, which industry can you use to buttress this? And I said, why don't we try Nollywood? And her eyes opened because she had only heard of Hollywood. And when I said Nollywood with an N, she said, wow, does that exist? And then she encouraged me to come back. So for the next 3 years, I was involved in collecting data about Nollywood. Now, you may be wondering, why did I select Nollywood as an informal market? I'm going to use some videos to explain that to you. First, we'll go through the old Nollywood, a short clip on that. After that, we'll see the new Nollywood, and then I'll give you my explanation. So let's go.
I think the popularity of Nigerian films is actually because they are pure African stories. A lot of the time, they're about either the jealous sister-in-law, mother-in-law, the problems of having children and how that affects the African family.
The elders of our village have sent us to you. Since your husband is no more, you are to take Ifeanyi as your new husband. He is to take care of you, your children, and all your husband's property. What? Why are you shouting? Don't you understand simple sentences again?
I heard what you said, Mama. And it will never happen over my dead body.
No problem. Then prepare to leave this house alone. You cannot take our kids with you. And at the same time, you cannot take anything that belongs to my son with you.
Our films are expected to mirror what our people do, our ways of life, our religious patterns, our socio-cultural milieu, the way we live, our religious beliefs, Islam, Christianity, Voodoo, Ifa.
I mean, Nollywood started from nothing. It's just like a bunch of people believing in their dream, in their vision that this can work. And we've come a long way since then. And I believe we're getting better.
So that's the old Nollywood. Let's now take you to the new Nollywood.
I get sick when I'm far away from you for so long. I lose sleep when
I'll be right back. Don't move.
Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need.
Yes.
Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need.
He proposed by accident?
What's wrong with you? Why are you shouting? Do you want Deirdre to hear you?
How could you let this happen?
Hello? Is it me that proposed to her? Shit. So what are you gonna do?
My money, my body, now your own, oh baby.
I'm getting married.
Congratulations!
Ladies and gentlemen,
I have your time. I have the time in the world.
I see your my sister now. Oh my God.
people and love me back. I will take you there. Lagos to Benin, London to Ekene. Say Lord, so where you wanna go? Let me take you there. Give me love, oh, give me plenty love.
My heart beats. You will not marry that woman. You will not. As long as I live, you will not.
What is that exactly? Let's see. 3 years?
Stop me, it's those people.
We want to have the wedding next month.
Next month?
We want to take it to Dubai.
We are behind you. Just take all of us to Dubai.
It's Young John, the wicked producer.
Beauty mama, you know I like you so. See, yeah, cherish you. I stand for you. I would lie to you, but I feel like for you.
You know why? How are you? I am only okay of
This is not a valid visa now.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's
valid.
Why come and pass?
I want
Hey, come back here.
Okay, so you've seen the old and you've seen the new. I think what fascinates me about Nollywood and what I found from my research was how, even though a lot about Nollywood has modernized in terms of the distribution practices and the technology that they use, if you go closer to the inner life of Nollywood, especially within the organization, you will find that they still use a lot of trust in hiring who gets to work with them. They use ethnic affiliates, religious affiliates. They may or may not sign contracts. And improvisation continues to be a strong way that they do business in this setting. And so for me, I've tried to understand why they were doing things that way. And what I found was actually that there are traditional customs, unwritten customs drawn from the communities they come from, especially the ethnic groups, that make them behave the way they do. And they become strategic. So while hiring is based on that informal way of behaving, distribution has now become more commercialized. And so there's been some kind of evolution in their way of behaving. After studying Nollywood, I wanted to be sure that what I was seeing was happening in other markets. So where did I go? Okeanri Market, Computer Village, traffic on Third Mainland Bridge, because a lot of people sell there. And that was when my eyes were opened to the power of informal markets and how far trust can take you. 70% of Sub-Saharan Africa's workforce operates in the informal market. Also, in Nigeria, $1.1 billion is part of what this informal market produces. 90% of retail transactions are within informal markets. And also, it employs about 90% of labor. So it's really huge. It's a huge market. And yet, there was a paradox I found. A lot of people who invest in informal markets because it's so huge burn their fingers. The reason they burn their fingers is because they don't really understand the inner workings of this market. And I identified three myths that hinder success in this market. The first one is illegality. I'll explain what that means. The second one is discontinuity, and the third one is irrationality. So illegality is that they believe informal markets are illegal, just like Dwayne Ireland did. And the second one is that informal markets will die or fully modernize. And the fourth one is that there's no structure to informal markets. And I'm going to debunk those three arguments in the next coming slides. So let's start with the first one. Informality does not necessarily mean illegality. And this was something I really found very strongly from the work that I did. And why is that? I was referring to some traditional customs. You've heard of apprenticeship, the Igba boy scheme. It's called Igba boy in Igbo, but I'm sure in other indigenous languages, we know how apprenticeship works. And it's a very interesting system. A master takes on a younger person and brings them up in the trade and then sets them off. And there are bonds of trust that bind them together. There's also the Esusu custom. Esusu is the cooperative one. If you've done Esusu before, can I see your hand? Fewer hands this time. Okay, good. But you know what I'm talking about. So it enables this social cohesion, which is almost an alternative to our way of banking these days. And yet, what I found interesting was that Nigerian laws, especially the Copyright Act, and a couple of other laws, with apologies to any lawyers, there's a son here in our midst, so I want to be careful what I'm saying. But I found that a lot of our laws don't fully capture those local nuances, those local customs, those indigenous traditions we have. And for that reason, players within that space choose when they want to comply and when they prefer to stick to what they know works for them. And that's what has happened in different markets. So summarizing, really, trust is what is propelling these informal markets, which makes them to recruit ethnic, family, and religious associates, to go by word-of-mouth agreements, to be more cash-based, to improvise, as they say a lot, as they hot. I'm sure you've heard that before, which means like doing things on the go as they occur to you. This is the way this market is organized. Now, to the second argument, informal markets, in my view, they will not die. Neither will they fully modernize. And I'll give you an example to explain this. Those of us in retail know how modern retail giants entered Nigeria, some South African retail giants without mentioning names, and they've left. But traditional retail still stays and is even more resilient in certain respects. And what is driving that? What is driving that is that these informal markets that you see, they're actually a social bonding machine. You can see I'm sweating a lot. A social bonding machine, excuse me. And so, people who operate in these markets are not just market players. They also use those engagements to build solidarity, to build reciprocity, to build bonds amongst themselves. Another fascinating thing is that even multinationals are becoming strategic in the way they engage this informal market. So Gala, we know Gala, don't we? About 60% of sales of Gala come from street selling, which is an informal market channel. And then Money Point, the POS agents who Money Point uses also. These people that carry POS machines, they are also there. A big route to market for Money Point. And the same thing with Unilever. So a few firms are becoming strategic and understanding how to play in these markets. And there are actually some benefits that our research has been showing. For instance, that in this market, this is where you find product testing happening. There are certain things that you will only find on Third Mainland Bridge to buy, in street hawking before you find them later on in the neighborhood stores. They use them for price testing. They also are a channel which is a viable channel for distribution. And then the third one is actually that informal markets, they have their own structure. This is something that after talking to about 1,000 shoppers, doing surveys and talking to informal retailers, we found. And I'll use an anecdote to explain this. There was a friend who wanted to get on the street to hawk because he wanted to see how it was. So he bought some bananas, put them in a tray, and went to the street to try to sell. And he didn't sell for up to 15 minutes. You know why? Other hawkers came forward and said, "Who are you? Who appointed you? Have you paid your dues? Who asked you to occupy this territory? Because this is my own territory." And he was shocked because that just showed him that they had their own structure. It may not have been written down, but they have their structure. And trust is the engine that powers that structure. They negotiate a lot, and so I refer to that as the oil that is powering that engine. And then improvisation, doing things on the go, is also what is critical about the structure. And so, really, summarizing, these markets will not go away. They are not illegal, even though they are informal, and they have a structure of their own. Now, moving on to the question of who are the people that buy from these markets? Who are the people that mostly patronize these markets? There's a book I have, pardon the commercial break. I'm releasing it officially at my lecture about this phenomenon. But I'll give you some things I found from that book. The first one is that shoppers actually do a lot of bargaining. One of the reasons why they patronize this channel is because of the opportunity for that interaction, that price negotiation, for getting the right deal. And it's not just in Nigeria. So a friend went to Morocco and he entered a plane from the airport. And from the airport to his hotel, the taxi driver negotiated the price more than 5 times because there was traffic, telling him, "Look, we need to change the price because time is going. If I wasn't in this place, I would be in this other place." So we find this kind of negotiation going on a lot. The second one, which is interesting, is creative consumption, which is using products and services in ways different from how manufacturers envisage them. So you know Indomie, don't you? Everybody knows Indomie. How do we consume Indomie in the South? In the same way it is displayed here. You cook it, you boil it or whatever, you put the seasoning, and it's out in a few minutes. But we found through our case study that in northern Nigeria, they consume Indomie differently. So some people dip it in milk, some people eat it raw. And you know why? Because for them, it's more like a snack than a full meal. And that gave us an interesting insight that if you're operating in this kind of market, you have to know the different ways people use your product and service, especially in the informal market setting. Because Indomie, the channel through which Indomie is sold mainly is through informal markets. The other interesting trend we found is how aspirational buyers are in this market. You will not believe it. Talking to people who earn less than 25,000 naira a month, we asked them, if God blessed you, in 5 years' time, we know that now you don't have a car and you don't have a house of your own. What kind of car would you like to drive? What kind of house would you like to live? And the answer for the car was Bugatti. And the answer for the house was a mansion in Banana Island. People earning 25,000 naira. Highly aspirational. But what fascinated us more was that in northern Nigeria, the aspirational value is even higher. Poorer people are more aspirational. Poorer consumers are more aspirational than the less poorer ones. Then, cultural sensitivity. That's a big thing about this market. They are very culturally sensitive. And I'm going to use the hypo-bleach case to explain this to you. Do you know hypo bleach? I assume you know it. It's a very popular bleach. It's used both in formal and informal markets. Let's watch this video.
Oh, Mama, you are welcome. Please come in.
Of course. I will come into my son's house. I need to drop these foodstuffs in my son's kitchen.
This way, Mama.
Where is my room? In my son's house. Wow.
Keep your white fabrics glowing whiter, your home sparkling and free from germs with Hypo. Make a dazzling impression every time and let your whites speak for you.
My wife. Any other wife is a counterfeit.
Oh, Mama.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association, now available in Lime Breeze.
Okay, so this advert was very nice. I think it was a hit, especially in southern Nigeria. But it didn't make an impact in northern Nigeria. In fact, for almost a year, people almost boycotted the brand in northern Nigeria. You know why? Because of something after they had done research, because they sent some people to go into the northern Nigeria to find out what the problem was. And they discovered that it was because of something the mother-in-law said towards the end of the ad, which is, any other wife is a counterfeit. And you know that in northern Nigeria, where some people marry more than one wife, to say that any other wife is a counterfeit is a problem. And of course, they corrected that. I'm going to show you now the video they used to correct that because it was a serious matter.
Na gaji da faɗawa yarana kada su dinga wasa a waje tare da tufafin su bari. Shirye datti na da wuya.
Ni ko da yaushe ina amfani da sinadarin bleach na Hypo kun fararen kayana domin yana sa su haske da walƙiya.
Mayar da fararen tufafinki sai kal da kuma muhallinki ya kasance cikin kulawa daga kwayoyin cututtuka tare da karfin kariyar sinadarin Hypo bleach.
So you can see the two wives side by side, you know, in the video. So one critical insight for us from this was how Nigeria is not one market. Those of us who are into business tend to sometimes see Nigeria as one market, but this showed us that we are really a conglomeration of markets. The southern market is very different from the northern one. And even in informal retail, in informal markets, we need to be culturally sensitive and speak the language of those in that culture. So moving on to success. How do we succeed in this market? I'm presenting you what is called the MICE framework, M-I-C-E. M stands for mastery, mastering, negotiation, and cultural awareness, making sure we know how to negotiate, making sure we know the cultural landscape. I is investing in talent. Talent development is really what this market needs to make it blossom even more. And C is about changing one's mindset. We need to change this view that this market is illegal, and nothing good can come from it, and move towards understanding how trust powers interactions in this market. And E is for trust, earning the trust of the market. You need to be able to earn the trust of players in that market. So that's the MICE framework. Lagos Business School has been playing a critical role in this aspect, through its Africa Retail Academy, which I was fortunate to start with a few other colleagues here. And the focus of this academy is to transform Africa's retail landscape. And we are working with both retailers in the formal and informal retail sector. There are over 2,000 participants who go through our talent development activities. And my call to action to you is, what can you do about it? Can you be a force for change? Can you be a force for policy advocacy? This is my call to you. If we all put our hands together to be policy advocates and to see informal markets differently, we will be tapping into this hidden gem that I'm talking about. And since I'm a professor, I have a quiz for you to close this lecture. Professors always give quizzes. So, quiz question number 1. To access this hidden gem, which is Africa's informal markets, what must you do to your mindset? Change. Thank you very much. Which market is governed by local customs with haggling as its oil, trust as its engine, and improvisation as its key? Thank you. And finally, to succeed in informal markets, what framework can you use? Nice. Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Please sit down. I still have some acknowledgements to read before I sit down. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so grateful. All right. Let me wipe my face a bit. Right there. Having just delivered my inaugural lecture, I am filled with gratitude and humility as I stand here. Some people say I look like a bishop today. I cannot but express my gratitude to God for allowing me to pursue my passion and share my knowledge with such a distinguished audience. Without his blessings, fatherly care, and guidance, I would not be where I am today. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to my parents, who have been my pillars of strength and support throughout my academic journey. I thank my late father, Leo Uzo, for his simplicity, selfless candor, and sense of humor. Thank you, Dad, for encouraging me to study sociology as my first degree when I could not be admitted to study economics. Thank you for encouraging me to go on a PhD journey when I was not sure whether it was the right thing to do. Thank you for pounding the best yam I have eaten so far. Your exemplariness as a father, role model, and advisor propelled me to greater heights. Let me also thank my mom, Mrs. Dora Uzo. Words cannot express my gratitude to you for everything. Thank you. All I can say is that the mother of a professor is a double professor. Thank you, Mama Prof, for everything. I'll also like to thank Chineme. Chineme is here. Chuka is here as well. Toby, Chidi, and Neka, my wonderful siblings, for their continuous encouragement and prayers. Let me also thank the members of my supernatural family of Opus Dei, Reverend Father Anthony Odo, and all other family members for being a continuous source of joy and gratitude. I cannot forget to thank Professor Albert Allos, the first Vice Chancellor of Pan Atlantic University, for being my father and teacher and guide. Whenever I see Professor Allos, he calls me Professor. But I remind him that I'm only a baby professor. He is a grand professor. So I usually call him Professor Prof. I'm also very grateful to Professor Juan Manuel Elegido. Where is he? Okay, he's there. Thank you. For mentoring me during the last 21 years of my career. Thank you for being by my side always. May your reward be in heaven and on earth as well. I must also thank Professor Enase Okonedo, my able Vice Chancellor. We are loyal, for teaching me to have a to-do list when I started my career at LBS as a program administrator in 2003. I quickly learned that the fear of Enase is the beginning of wisdom. Thank you for strengthening me as a manager and leader. My profound gratitude also goes to Professor Chris Ogbeche for shaping the direction of my research, and to Professor Yinka David West for inspiring me and bringing out the best in me. I also thank Professor Akintola Owolabi for being my friend and support over the last years. Going down memory lane, I must also thank Mr. Sapong, who taught me French in primary school, for giving me 6 lashes of the cane whenever I scored 4 over 10 in my homework. I thank Mrs. Ikeron, my headmaster and lesson teacher, for detecting my playful tendencies and truancy, which my mom quickly erased with the appropriate spanking. My time at Yese Business School, Stanford Business School, Colegio Mayor Monteros were unforgettable. I must also thank Professor Johanna Meyer for being such an encouraging and supportive thesis supervisor and research collaborator. I thank everyone who was part of my life as a PhD student in Barcelona. I thank Ephraim Nwokoro, Dr. Olamide Shitu, Adedeji Adewusi, and Jude Adigwe for their invaluable support as research assistants at different stages of my academic journey. To my friends and colleagues, I cannot thank you enough for your unwavering support, guidance, and encouragement throughout my career. Your support has been instrumental in helping me achieve this milestone, and I'm deeply grateful for your constant presence in my life. I also extend my gratitude to all my past and current students and the captains of industry present at this event. To the Vice Chancellor and the entire university community, I'm truly honored to be a part of such a distinguished academic community. Your support and encouragement have been invaluable in helping me reach this milestone, and I look forward to contributing to the growth and development of this great institution. In the end, I would like to thank all of you who have taken the time to come here today and listen to my lecture. Your presence and support mean the world to me, and I hope my lecture has been able to impact some knowledge and inspiration to you. Thank you, and God bless.
So thank you, Professor Uzo, for a wonderful lecture. So on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Nase Okonedo, I want to thank everyone here for gracing the 14th inaugural lecture of Pan-Atlantic University. We want to thank, in a special way, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Pan-Atlantic University Foundation, Engineer Charles Osezua, who is here present. We also want to thank distinctly the Pro-Chancellor, Mr. Henry Odein Ajimogobia, SAN, who is also the chairman of the Governing Council, and other members of Council. Special mention, Mr. Mohammed K. Ahmad. And Mrs. Mary Agbu. So we want to thank them for taking time out of their busy schedule to honor Professor Uzo. We want to say a big thank you to Professor Albert Alos, as always, the first Vice Chancellor of PAU, and also to Professor Juan Manuel Elegido, who his successor, for their presence, which is always a joy for us. And in a special way, we want to thank the Uzo family for their care and devotion that has given us a refined gentleman and teacher. So thank you to everybody for coming. But a quick announcement. We are going to have the procession leave the auditorium in the reverse order, meaning that the Vice Chancellor will lead the procession out of the auditorium, and we're all to remain standing while this happens. We will have cocktails served in the foyer outside in the auditorium. All members of faculty are to remove their robes. Only Professor Uzo will be required to keep his robes on for the course of the cocktail. So my last piece of thanks and gratitude goes to the members of staff and the student volunteers who have put together this event. Thank you so much. So once again, thank you for coming, and may God grant you journey mercies to your final destinations. May we rise for the anthems.